Hi folks and welcome to Tech Talk. My name is Anu. My guest today is Gary Fowler. He is CEO of a company called Findo. Come join us. Hi Gary, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So you are CEO of a company called Findo.
Yes, I am.
You are also co-founder of a successful accelerator in Eastern Europe.
Yes.
And you are a TED Talks presenter.
Yes.
So let's talk about Findo. What does Findo do?
So Findo, if you look at it, we're inundated with information that's all around us. In fact, the amount of information on our own personal cloud is doubling every year. The average person has about 300,000 items across multiple repositories: Gmail, AOL, Google Drive, Dropbox Box, and somebody sends something to you or you put something somewhere and you say, I know the file exists, but I can't find it. Why? Because you've forgotten where you put it or you've forgotten the keywords. This is a problem that's got to be changed in the near term, because in 5 years, the average person like us is going to have about 10 million items. How in the world are you going to be able to search?
Right.
So my partner is Dr. David Yang, who's one of the foremost AI experts and serial entrepreneurs. He's done 9 AI companies. And what we did is we started this company within Abbey, which has 1,300 employees. It's his company. Mm-hmm. And we got 18 of the top folks, mm-hmm. and we brought them into Findo. Okay. His PhD's in AI. He's been doing it for 27 years. So we brought him over and we said, we can crack this problem. Not going to be easy, but search. So we started on the problem 4 years ago. And 2 years ago, we founded the company, Findo. And here we are. So we've got search. We start off with search. But after going through 1.3 billion documents, we learned a lot of lessons. So we came out with our Eva Task Assistant. And then we came out with our newest tool, which is an employee engagement, Eva Pulse. And because in organizations, there's also issues: searching, finding things, conflicts are in an organization, how to be able to understand where they are, who has them, and more importantly, having your own coach. So if I got a little challenge, it comes up to me and say, you might want to take a look at this. You might want to tone it down a little bit.
Interesting. So what kind of words does it search on? Do you have to feed it real specific data?
Yeah. So it's actually looking in context, right? Mm-hmm. So it's using unsupervised artificial intelligence, okay. and semi-supervised artificial intelligence to be able to search. So it's not a keyword kind of thing. It's actually taking the relationships between the words together and understanding your average, how you say something, average over time, compared to how the organization says it. And it's actually making some decisions based on that. We have 14 patents now that we've gotten in this area. We're really excited about it.
That's so interesting. And so this is a SaaS-based platform?
Yeah, it's so the Eva Task Assistant and Search are SaaS-based, but one of the things that people ask us for is to be able to put it in their own private cloud. So we're doing it in a private cloud can be done with Eva Pulse. So it can be a little bit different.
And how many registered users do you currently have?
So we just come out literally right now with Pulse, but we have 158,000 registered users on search, because the problem is getting worse all the time.
Yeah.
How many times a week do you say, I remember I got that email from Gary or Kartik, and you say, and then what about the PowerPoint presentation I looked at, or company plan I looked at 3 months ago?
Yeah. All the time.
All the time, right? It's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. It's kind of like Google for your personal cloud.
I see.
So that's where we started. Now we're a productivity tool company because we understand we know AI and we can do some extraordinary things to make life a bit better for people. And that's where we are now.
I see. Thank you. Let's talk about the Accelerator. Mm-hmm. You co-founded the Eastern European Accelerator.
Sure.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so what happened is I was an MBA professor at the top business school in Russia at Skolkovo, School of Management. And we started the Startup Academy. So we actually initiated a program called Startup Academy. And we understood that we can make a powerful difference on people. So we ran down through that program. We had 4 or 5 cohorts. And then we decided we wanted to go out and make something bigger. So we left the business school. We went out and we created a venture fund. We did corporate programs. We said if we take the best people in the world and use as an example people like Steve Blank, Bob Dorff, Guy Kawasaki, Bill Reichard, people that are expert in the area, and give people the hope. Hey, you can work with those kind of folks. Here's the kind of knowledge they can impart to you. And by the way, let's have a mentor. Let's have a business coach that works with you. Let's take you through the whole process. The whole idea was to get them to be successful to the best they can be, and then invest if possible. Originally, we didn't think about investing, but after a while, it was like, can we raise money? We'd like to keep you involved, and so that's how the program progressed.
I see. So typically, what type of criteria do you look for in a startup to be able to be part of your accelerator?
Yes, so we look at, do they have a great idea, an interesting idea? The most important thing is a team. Do we really believe in the team? Can they pull it off? Or is it just for them, it's just a process? And then, is it really fundable? In the current market conditions, is this thing fundable? Because we want them to have hope too. An extraordinary thing does happen within the accelerator. They'll actually start joining each other's teams because they'll figure out who's the hot startup, and they'll start to join each other's teams. There's an interesting effect that takes place where they say, well, my idea is not as interesting. I want to join this other team. So we see that. What we also did was critically important. We would bring them over to Silicon Valley for 2 weeks. And what we do is we immerse them. We'd have top people in the Valley come in and talk to them about particular topics, venture funding, investment banking, how to do sales calls, like really, what's it like in the Valley? Where do you need to be located? Legal structure, what do you have to have in the Valley? A Delaware corporation, set up an office in California. What do you need to be successful? And we went down through that process and taught them. And so what we understood is that instead of 10% being successful, it was over 30%. So we beat the odds on this thing. And the amazing situation is they were actually raising money. So they would come out and they would start raising money. In fact, yesterday one of my students was here, and I haven't seen her for a few years, 3 years ago. And she just raised $10 million. And I mean, she didn't have a clue about doing startups before. But I'm really proud of her because she did it. Yeah. And what happens, the one thing we have in the States is that people believe in dreams. They have hope. And so what we do is impart it to them. The glass isn't half empty. The glass is half full.
That was going to be my next question for you, actually. What do you've worked with U.S. startups and you've worked with Eastern European startups. What are some of the major differences, cultural differences, when you compare the two?
Sure. So they have this kind of fatalistic mentality. It's the glass is half empty. And so what we have to do is they're just not positive. And a lot of times we watch movies in Eastern Europe, particularly in Russia, Ukraine, those places. What happens at the end of the movie is the person dies. And so they have this kind of fatalistic mentality. Well, we want to change. You have hope, to believe in dreams. And so part of it is taking them through the steps to be able to believe and to give them the hope and to make them feel empowered and passionate about it, no matter what the situation. And we had, one of the things that we did, we actually took our classes, we would have half women, and we had to take the money out of our pocket to be able to fund it. But we would actually have classes of half women because we wanted to see female entrepreneurs kick butt. And we wanted to see it. And what happened? They did it. And it was, the difference is that one is failure, they're not used to failing. So, it's a bad thing. My mother would come up and she won't like this, or my grandmother, and they would put a guilt trip on them. Go get a job. Go work at the factory. You've got this great education. Go work at the factory. And so what happens is we have a team. It's okay. It's okay. Failure is not a bad thing. Failure gives you experience to do better the next time. So what we did is imparted that. And then, it was interesting when you go hunt through hundreds of startups, and that's only my accelerator, not some of the other things, you actually start absorbing all this energy. It becomes very powerful, so you can give that energy back out. And what we taught them is help other startups, help other people. So, it feels really good. And we would get them agitated and excited, and they would look at it and they would feel energy. They would come into our entrepreneur club meeting just so they could be filled up. It's like going to the gas station with energy. So you could fill them up, and they would come out of there like, wow, I can take on the world. Yeah, so.
So by way of your accelerator, you created a program called the 360-degree ecosystem, and it's where you have created over 200 companies within 3 years, and over 30% of those got funded and created more than 700 jobs. Tell me about how this program works.
Yeah, so it's a 10-week program, 8 weeks of practical education with a business coach and a mentor, and they learn the fundamentals. They start out with sales, they start out with marketing, and it's learn by doing. So it's a learn by doing model. It's not like, the MBA was created at Harvard University to teach managers how to manage, not to give them practical skills how to be an entrepreneur. In fact, those exact kind of things that you would do as a manager, you don't want to take risk. So actually, it's diametrically opposed to what you should be doing as an entrepreneur. So we have to instill that in them, that it's okay. Right? Try it. And so the companies, what happens with them is they start to get very positive. They start to understand they can do it, and they start to reach out and they try things. And that's when you know you hit the jackpot with them. It's moving in the right direction. And so, our thing is to just give them hope, tell them that it's possible, and then basically plant a seed. And what happens to watch that seed grow is just extraordinary.
Sure. Now, when you give talks, what is it that you are most passionate about communicating to your audience?
So when I did my TED Talk, and when I go around the world, I'll be in Europe in June. I'll be talking to startups from all the European Union, about 1,000. And what I do is I go down through and, I do passion. What are kind of keys to success? Believe in your dreams. I believe there's energy all around us, and you connect with people, and you start to get that energy, and it goes back and forth, and it becomes more than the power of two. And so what I tell them is visualize, right? So passion, you have to have passion. You got to believe, you got to be optimistic. You have to believe in the things. And more importantly, you got to visualize it. Paint that picture of whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Put it on the wall. I went down through, I'll never forget, my own story is I bought a black belt in the magazine. My father said, "What's wrong with you?" I was 14 years old. I said, "Dad, I'm going to put that black belt on." Now, I said, "I want to put a nail in the wall. I want to put it up there." Okay, put it up there. I got 2 black belts in one day, and it was 10 years later, and I put that exact black belt on because I visualized that black belt every single day. And I said, I'm going to wear that black belt, and I'm going to deserve to wear that black belt. So it's setting goals and challenging yourself. Yeah. You can be your best friend. You can do things. You're the one that controls your destiny. It's nobody else. It's not husbands. It's not wives. It's not peers. It's you. You control it. So you set whatever place you want to be, and you focus on that and visualize. So my talks are about passion, optimism, and visualization.
Sure. Have there been life experiences that have led you to giving motivational talks?
Yeah, so I'm a living example that I'm a country boy from Pennsylvania. I grew up on the side of a mountain in a village that had 1,000 people, but I always had dreams, and people said to me, "Well, how are you going to do this?" And it's not realistic, and I would paint it in my mind. And so when I wanted to go to college, I was not at the right level. I graduated with in the bottom 20% probably. But I said, I want to do it, and I'm going to go. So I forced myself for 2 months to read a book a day. And I said, I'm going to read every single book. I'm going to go to the community college, and I'm going to go down through, and I'm going to graduate with highest honors, summa cum laude, and undergraduate and graduate school. I just set it as a goal. And what I did, I read all the books, no more than 300 pages, and I read a book a day. And then I read all the textbooks for all the classes, so in advance for the whole year.
Wow. So
I read them, and of course I went into the class and I had the answers. So when you're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I already knew it. I knew about Freud. I knew it, and I understood that this is not that hard, right? This is not rocket science. This is like read the books. This is binary. Read the books. Most people waste their time. Yeah. Why not do it? So then I did houses. I built 27 houses. And it was a very successful endeavor. And I built houses up to 8,000 square feet and designed them and built them. And people say, well, how do you do it? It's because you believe in the dreams. And of course you have to do your homework. It's not like you just say, I'm going to do it. And all of a sudden it's a house. It's like there's steps you have to take. But those same steps, that same project management, those skills, apply to different areas. It helped me build my company. It helped me build my 9 companies. Each one of the times you take that knowledge and transfer it around in different areas. John Cow says it's really a pyramid upside down. And knowledge comes in. You're learning all the time and putting that knowledge into place to do something better. I believe it's true. So I'm very positive. I don't give up. And I don't share my ideas of what I'm going to do a lot of times in the future. I keep those inside because I don't want people to say it can't be done, because I know it can. I only get to the point where it becomes real, and then I just show it. And it's like, wow. What did one guy say? You've got the golden touch. I'm a country boy from Pennsylvania. Come on.
Yeah. So we all, most of us experience some trying times at some phase in our lives, right?
Sure.
So what in which phase of your life did you experience like trying times, humbling times? What were they, and how did you overcome them?
So, you go down through your life. If you look at it as a negative part of your life, things become negative. If you look at the positive, earlier I said one of the things that happened to me, I got divorced, 49 years old, and I went back to school for 5 years. In a situation, how could you do that? You're a successful businessman. But it's incredible when you start to get knowledge, because most people have never, ever done that. And so to be a full-time student, go back and live in the student dormitory and learn, people said, how can you do that? It's really bad. But it's incredible when you have knowledge imparted on you and you can afford to do it. So what happened is, each time that a negative would come in front of me, I would turn it into a positive. This is like incredible. And I would get absorbed in it and get the energy from it, and that would lead to the next thing. I became an MBA professor because of that. Right? That was a great thing. Then I started the Startup Academy. Then we started GVA Launch Gurus. And the situation, they all came because I went back to school and did this, and now I had an opportunity that was different than before. So it's a matter of looking at the positive side of life. Mother Teresa said, it's not about coming up and going against war and saying, stop war. It's about pro-peace. Take the positive side of life and get the negative energy away from you. Some people hold it inside. They're like, I got to have this negative energy. It's not. You got to release it. You got to look at the positive part of life. I didn't get what I want. Find out what you want. Go out, get this thing. You want a pistachio? You want a vanilla ice cream cone? Well, they don't have pistachio? Okay. Try vanilla. Try something you've never tried before. Just experience. And that's what life's about. Scott McNeely told me one time that you got to seek areas where you're uncomfortable because you're going to learn the most. And that stuck with me. And I understood that if I went down through and found areas where I could learn and felt uncomfortable, I felt enriched. Yeah. Enriched. Because you gain something that, down in Annapolis, Maryland, I never sailed a boat before. And we sailed a boat out of Annapolis. Of course, we had to, study and all that, but I'd never even thought about it, but I did it. Yeah. So the thing is, try it. Yeah. Life is short. Enjoy it. Have many adventures. I look at life as chapters in a book. And sometimes I close a book and start a new book. But chapters in a book. And so you're on your own adventure. What you want to do is make it fulfilling and fun. Yeah.
So what's your definition of success?
Happiness. Being happy. Yeah. So if you're happy and content, that's... I'm not saying you don't do things. I'm just saying feeling fulfilled inside. Right. That you're doing the best that you can do, and it feels really good.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wish you all the success.
Thank you. And thank all of you.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks.